we got one more touch-up area for topology to consider, and that's the old butt. Right now, it doesn't look much like a caboose, and no matter how hard you try to move the verts that we have right now, you'll just never get that shape. So we're going to hit the gym, do some squats, and we're going to make this butt just pop. I don't know why I'm talking like this. So follow very carefully, follow the outline, because we got some very tricky multi-cuts to make. So find this nice little crotch point right here at our crotch, and we're going to create kind of the silhouette of our butt, like so. All right. Then we're going to create a triangle right here. Perfect. And then we're going to come straight across there to our middle edge, and we're going to mirror duplicate, so I'm not going to go all the way across. And then I'm going to delete this edge right here to get rid of this triangle. Now we have to insert another little tricky multi-cut right above our cheek, and we're going to stop it right there, create an N-gon right here. And then we're going to select this edge right here. We're going to do something called collapse this edge. Nice. And now we have a triangle, two triangles right here. So if we delete that edge, then we get all quads, and we can start to define the shape of the butt a little bit better. So watch as I refine this butt, or this gluteus. Now I'm not using the sculpt tool quite yet, because I want to get the shape just right. And then the kind of comes up like this. Crotch is way too low right now. We'll go back in and fix that. Uh-oh. Something's happening. Maybe let's even that out a little bit. You can almost start to see the effects that good topology has. You can almost get a feel for your edge flows and what kind of shapes and silhouettes they make the longer you do this kind of stuff. All right. You know what? We need more jump. So I'm going to create all these, grab all these butt verts, and we're going to bring them in. Then we'll push in the crack. Oh goodness, we get some meat now on us. All right, great. So we have our butt geometry kind of defined now. Now all we have left to do is just touch up the silhouette of the entire body. So before we can refine the entire shape of my dude, I'm going to do a mirror duplicate, because you can see I've touched up the topology on the left side of my body. So I'm going to duplicate that detail to the right side of the body. So we'll just grab all those faces. We'll zoom in and just make sure we grab those. Let's hide my reference so I'm not messing anything up. We'll grab those edges. I'll deselect the neck hole. You can already see now right here we're a little bit off symmetry. So we'll just scale and snap to the center grid. Nice. Now we can do a modify, freeze, and reset. Control D, -1 scale. So we get this flipped right across our center point in our grid. Mesh, combine, vertice, merge. And I mean, we've created our character basically. He just looks like a wire boy. So we're going to use our sculpting tools to kind of suggest some of these muscular shapes that we want to see. And you know what? Before I do that, I think I'm going to extrude up this neck a little bit and maybe in, just so I can kind of refine get these edges refined a little bit more. All right. So let's bring in my reference, and we can see we're not going to worry too much about the hands, but places like the ribs and the hips and the feet and the neck, we're just going to make sure that they match the reference as closely as possible, and then we'll start suggesting some shapes. Why don't we delete our history real quick? Perfect. All right, I'm going to grab my mesh tools, sculpting tools, this break off the menu. I'm going to place it right here. And the first thing I'm going to do is grab my relax tool. Let's turn on symmetry. Let's try World X. Maybe it won't get off as much if we do that. And we're just going to go in and relax all of our geometry. Try to avoid relaxing some of the areas in which we created that extra special topology, like the elbows. But feel free to kind of smooth out everything else. We want to get nice, even distributions of faces down our limbs and into our hands, for instance. And we'll use our sculpt tool to bring in some more details for the muscles in a second. I see I went into my wrist area a little too much there for my taste. Or the elbow area, rather. So the neck is doing fine right now. Let's smooth it out right there. I don't know if it's going to help, but relaxation. Now let's relax down my leg a little bit. Nothing's really changed down there. So now let's grab my sculpt tool and let's start really building the mass of this guy out. So my legs have always been kind of puny. If it helps, maybe go into sub D mode. You can see a little bit about what's going on a little bit more. So the reason why this guy's looking pear-shaped is because we don't have enough mass in the upper body to balance out the pear. And as you get used to human anatomy and whatnot, you'll find that you'll start developing certain landmarks you like to tackle first. Like for me, it's like the top of the shoulders. If I can get the top of the shoulders going, then it just moves into the chest a little bit. And then from the chest, it moves in to the legs and down the thing. Let me get a little bit more strength. It feels like I'm banging my head against the wall right now. These thighs have needed some mass for a while now. It's going to close the gap between our pelvis. And you'll find there's some places that the brush just won't finesse, like inside the crotch here. So you may find yourself wanting to go back and manually move some verts. I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a second. So I'm just creating some quads right now. Really getting these quads going is one way to keep him looking from a frumpy pear man. And this is just good practice for the future when you may want to move into more, sophisticated sculpting programs like ZBrush. We'll build out his back forms a little bit. I like to exaggerate and scale down. So his bicep will be at the front right here. A little bit of tricep. Let's scale that down. And then the forearms actually kind of bulge. If you make this pose yourself, you'll see that your forearms kind of like bulge at the top and bottom right there. Now, the top part of the forearm bulges up more, creates this little hump. Let's scale it down. And then the bottom forearm is more of a gradual hump that goes all the way down to the wrist. down that ulna. I'm making very exaggerated kind of muscle groups now, just so we can kind of get a feel for things. Let's create maybe some suggestion of the collarbone area right here. I feel like this guy's had the thinnest neck for forever. My smooth tool needs a little bit more strength, so I'm going to go grab and we'll smooth the neck a little bit. Something about the neck is off. It's basically, I'm going to grab my sculpt tool and push it in on the sides here. Smooth it out. Push it down in the middle. Bring it out right there. Smooth it out. And then we have like this detail going on. This guy looks crazy with his eyes and the skeleton thing going on. Alright, we're getting there. Very nice. Let's pull out the knees a little bit and scale them down. And we'll even go in here and push in our knees a little bit. Probably been better to do it by hand with vertices, but I'm having fun right now. Let's actually pull this out a little bit. And then our calves. Let's start suggesting that instep of the foot. And I like this shape because you can turn this into a boot a lot easier than a foot with toes on it. Let's shrink around. And then we'll just, the build up and smooth down method is just the best way to keep your shapes from kind of going out of control. We'll build out that, build out that. The calves are actually two muscles that kind of start on the back, and you can see them poking out the side there. The butt looks a little weird right now. Might have to manually go in and select some of those words. I mean, I don't want to give this guy a cartoonish derriere. Since this is like a weird 5-edge pole, it can be a little troublesome to get the sculpt just right. You know what? Before I jinx it, I'm just going to go ahead and say that this is done. Let's make some final adjustments, such as, let's get rid of these inside faces here I made. So I'll select that edge loop hole. We'll go to two faces, grow my selection once, and delete. Let's bring back my mesh here. Ooh. I feel like my shoulders are a little too big right now. I'm going to go in and fix that. But like I said, I'm not the most worried about getting the best volume and mass here. I just want to be able to get a feel. There we go. Now the neck's coming along. Control again pushes in. The neck kind of has like this curvature like that going on that I need to accomplish. And we'll worry about the unevenness of this neck hole in the next video. The important thing is we have the topology ready to go to start building the head. Everything else looks pretty good. All right. So hopefully you have something that looks akin to this. with the right number of spans, the right kind of form built. And we started out with something we kind of demoed at the beginning of the series. And I hope you guys, that's not the most flattering figure right now, but this is just a Doughboy that's ready to transform into all of your character needs in the future. I'm going to go in and unlock my normals, hardened edges. And there we go. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.